Hello, I'm Raven and today I want to show you my version of Clea cosplay from Clair Obscur Expedition 33. A little about of design decision for this skirt. I always try use natural materials. For this skirt I choose navy blue cotton velvet, silver color viscose. For linen I use it only for belt, invisible zipper, inside seam. It's about 30 or 35 cm, cotton bias binding and silver cord. For hem, 2 gold buttons and 2 snap buttons, and I'll show you later how I use it. Okay, let's sew it. I start making Clea skirt by creating the pattern. I took measurements from the screenshot of Clea based on my height to get the correct proportion of myself. In the result, the skirt body length is 85 cm and the belt weight is about 6 cm. I was considering between a 3/4 circle skirt and full circle skirt. The problem is the 3/4 skirt is more difficult to calculate and sew, but the other one can show your underwear when you spin, which is not elegant in my opinion. Frankly speaking, I already bought the fabric before calculation. Please do not make my mistake. And it's just enough for a 3/4 skirt. So I think it was fate, and in the end I am happy with the result. I'll show you both calculation options. First, the full circle skirt with 6 cm belt. My waist is 70 cm, the belt is 77 cm. I take these measurements from this part here. I added 5 cm for gathering because if you check the reference you will see it is under the belt. So I had to make this area wider because it would be reduced during the sewing process. The allowance for seams is 1 cm and I have all the necessary measurements. I need to find X using the formula for the length of the circle. I use my belt length plus 5 allowance for gathering and then divide this number by 2 and by the P. This is a small radius. It is 13 cm. For the large radius, I use the small radius plus 85 cm plus 1 cm allowance for seams, and the result is 99 cm. I should draw 2 semicircles on the fabric. One should have a radius of 12 cm, small radius with 1 cm allowance for seams, and the other one should have a radius of 99 cm. I have already added the allowance here. We need the same measurements for the 3/4 skirt. However, the formula must be changed. I'll simplify the formula. X equals 77 cm plus 5, multiplied by 2 and divided by 3 and P. The radius is around 17 cm. The large radius is the small radius plus 85 cm plus 1 cm. It is 103 cm. I need to draw a semicircle and a sector on the fabric, with radiuses of 16 and 103 cm each. I washed and ironed the fabric and cut out 2 pieces of skirt from the main fabric. Next, I sewed and finished the left seam using an overlocker. I leave the skirt to hang for about 24 hours. As the fabric stretches to a different degree in different places, some areas change length over time due to the fabric's own weight. During this time, I sewed a belt onto the skirt. Then, after putting on the skirt, I adjusted its length using a hem marker tool. Don't worry, you can use a simple ruler and maybe a helper to do this without this tool. I used a high waist belt pattern from an old project, changing the weight to 6 cm. Added interfacing to the main fabric. I need to cut out 6 pieces for the belt, 4 full sizes pieces and 2 shorter pieces for the overlap at the front of the skirt. Three pieces made of fabric with interfacing and 3 made of the regular fabric. At this stage I realized that the front pieces of the belt were too thick. I decided to replace the 3 inner pieces, which were made of the regular fabric, with the pieces made of the linen fabric. I used silver colored viscose for the linen. Using the sewing machine, I joined the left seam of the 2 pieces of linen and 2 pieces of main fabric. Then I joined the shorter pieces of linen and main fabric together, leaving the right edge open. As a result, I have an outer belt made from the main fabric, inner belt made from the linen material, and a wrap detail. Next, I joined the upper edges of the inner and outer belt together. For the lining, I fold the edge over by 1 cm and secure it with a hand stitch. Gathering time! I made a hand stitch along the top edge of the skirt and pulled it tight to reduce the length by 5 cm. Next, I pinned the top edge of the skirt to the bottom edge of the belt. I sewed it using a sewing machine. Then I removed the hand stitches that had been used to gather it. I trimmed part of the seam elements from the belt part to reduce their thickness and secure the edge of the skirt under the belt using a hand stitch. I secure the linen with a hand stitch, covering the cut edge of the skirt. For top stitching, I changed the needle to 14 size. Also, I set tension to 9 and the stitch length to 4 mm. I didn't have any thick milk-colored thread, so I decided to use crocheted one at my own risk. However, my machine handled it just fine. I finished the wrap detail and the right side edges of the skirt on the overlocker. Next, I sewed an invisible zipper into the right seam of the skirt. I hide the edges of the zipper using hand stitches. I didn't have any gold buttons, I used black ones instead. As shown in the reference, I painted them using a gold chrome marker. I sew the wrap detail to the right of the zipper. I don't make buttonholes, instead I sew snap buttons under regular buttons. It's not entirely logical, but I prefer it this way. I finished the bottom edge of the skirt with cotton bias binding. I used silver cord. I sew it using the bias binding seam as a guide. I used black thread for the bottom bobbin to make the stitches less visible. The Clea skirt is now completely finished. For the hairband, I cut a bias binding from the same fabric and sewed it by hand. I used textile glue to close the seam with a strip of fabric. I found the perfect shirt at the thrift store. Just remove pockets and replace the buttons. I also found great suspenders there. The wrap elegantly hides the zipper. The cord hides the binding seam. And here is the result. The outfit is very comfortable. I can actually wear it in my everyday life. Once again, it's extremely comfortable. That's it. This is my first video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.